what's up, Siren fans and AfterBuzzers, you guys? New World Order. Maddie dies, Ben's dad betrays them, and there's a hybrid that is pregnant. We have a lot to cover for the season finale, so stay tuned.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome back. We are so excited to be here for the season finale for Siren. I am joined by my lovely co-host, Karla.
Hi.
How are you?
My mind is blown, completely blown.
Happy Thursday. Happy season finale day. We made it, you guys. 16 episodes later, we're finally here. And it all came down to this. I was actually really confused. Like, I didn't really know how to start my opening because so much happened in the episode. But at the end of it, we're like, that didn't even happen in real life.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the processing of like, do I talk about this? Do I not? Obviously, we're going to talk about it all because this is something that can totally happen. So we'll talk about Ben, Rin, the illusion, the visions, and just kind of what happens towards the end. We have our last special segment. Then we'll wrap up with some predictions for, obviously, season 3. So let's get started.
So much to cover.
Okay.
Where do we start?
Where do we even start? Do we just follow the timeline? Do we go character by character? Let's start out by just Ian, our lovely reporter.
The nuisance.
Yes. As we know, at the end of last week's episode, Ian decides to kidnap Rin. Rin wakes up, makes the car crash. Obviously, she's able to switch. And we'll talk more about the fact that she switched too early and then there was complications with that. But there's this whole scene that we go through. And this was like, if you guys grew up watching Twilight, this was my Twilight moment in this episode today, okay? That was like such a Breaking Dawn time. And I was like, I can't even with the show right now. I was literally in the verge of starting to cry because of everything that was going on. I was like thinking to myself, how are they going to come back from this? Like, how are they going to recover? Like, Maddie can't die. It was way too many emotions all at once. But that was just it. It was all a vision. It was an illusion of what Ben saw if he were to save Ian. So my question to you guys is you think that he would have still basically shown the footage out to the world even though they would have saved his life?
100%.
You think so?
Yeah, I thought even in that moment when he was kind of deciding to save him or not, and then he didn't, according to the illusion, I was so bummed. I was like, that's going to be a huge mistake.
Yeah.
Because I knew, like, there's no way you hold on to something that massive that, let's say, can be career altering. Yeah. And you're just going to keep it to yourself. It wasn't realistic. So when he took him with him and saved his life, I was like, wow. I was actually bummed.
Okay.
I thought that was the wrong move. So then when I know, but I feel like sometimes you just have to be, because then what happens after that? Like, that's so much worse to me.
That's true.
Like, my heart was breaking watching everything just unravel. Mm-hmm. So I think the right move was made, even though it was super cold. But they also think about it. Ian was gonna run Ben over.
He was.
Yes, like, he had no problem killing Ben. So why should Ben think twice? Like, that's so, like, cold-hearted, but, like, it's realistic.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how I feel about this one, you guys, because it's like, obviously, if you have the chance to save somebody, you want to, but I guess under the circumstances, then it was maybe a good choice for him not to save him. But in the case that he did save him, I was like, either this guy is really going to be thankful for it, or he's just going to go for it because he's going to have some sort of opportunity, something's going to happen. And I wasn't surprised by all the events that happened because it's totally believable. Like, we know Ian has been after this story since we've met him, so it kind of made sense that they took us on this whole thing where he, like, exposes them and then we get to where we were, you know. But it was so interesting, just like the whole thing of it itself. Like, Bristol Cove was under martial law. Ben and Maddie with Rin, they were fugitives. They were hiding in the cave. Then they were found. Do you think, I want to talk about Ben's dad. Mm-hmm. Do you think that if that would have been the case, Ben's dad would have betrayed him?
See, I don't know. I found that even when it was happening in the illusion, I didn't even understand, like, the purpose of selling him out, kind of.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, you want to keep him safe, but, like, I don't know. It was weird to me. The whole idea of, like, and the only excuse he ever gave was, he wanted to keep him safe, but clearly Ben will go to great lengths for Ren. Yeah. So it's like, I feel like it's like wanting to keep him safe, but like whatever Ben chooses to do, which is clearly going to be to put himself in danger, like you can't really stop him. So I don't know. I don't think in real life he would betray him.
Okay. I don't think so either. Yeah. Only because of everything that has been going on with him about the accident that they had and what he remembers. I think maybe, actually now that I think about it, maybe he would have betrayed him if a siren is what did that to his side.
I agree.
Because he would have been like, these animals don't, or, you know, a lot of people view them as animals. I don't really know what to call them, but these people would be like, no, like they were aggressive to us and now my wife is paralyzed because of them, so they don't deserve our help, you know?
Imagine he knew that Ren's, I'm going to say cells, what they took out of her or whatever it was, is what helped cure his wife. Would he harm them then?
No, but he doesn't know that.
But if he did, or like, let's say Ben was like, this is the reason mom's getting better. I feel like that would change everything up completely.
Of course.
So many factors.
I know.
They always leave us like this.
I know. Like there's always so many questions. And I'm like, listen.
And then we're just here to come up with our own what ifs.
Yeah. And also like, so this didn't actually happen, but it did happen in the episode. I had predicted last week that we were going to see Ben's mom walk again before the end of the season. This? I did. I predicted this last week. And I was like, she started walking. I was literally in the verge of tears because he like sees her and that's the last time he's going to see his mom before he goes to Canada. And I was like, oh my gosh, this mom is walking. Like, this is crazy. And then it turns out like it was an illusion. She's still in a wheelchair, but we have hope.
Yeah. Oh my God, I just realized that. That's so sad. I was really happy about that.
Yeah. There was a lot of things that were happening that I was just like, what? For example, Xander and Calvin.
Oh my God, I was so mad about that.
I was so ready to drive over to Bristol Cove while watching Siren on my cell phone and be like,
smack them up a little bit.
You know, like grandma style, and just kind of be like, what's wrong with you, you know? And especially after they supposedly catch Donna's daughter. You know what? I mean, now that I'm thinking about this, do you think that a lot of the things that happened here in this illusion were things that, like, were giving us hints towards certain things? Like, for example, how Xander still had the recording of Donna's voice. Like, does he have that? Like, is that within his reach?
I think so. I think so. That's interesting to see that, because everything that was shown in this illusion is kind of like a play on what everyone's really capable of.
Yeah.
Or like the possibilities of what it could be if the truth was out there. And I think in reality, if that was the case, Xander would do the same thing, like in real life. Like he would. So? Yeah, absolutely. Like, I feel when you say $100 million, I mean, I would think twice. To everybody watching, I would think twice. But I feel like for someone who's trying to figure life out, I feel like they like finesse their way through life, kind of.
Yeah.
So that's like a big win, no matter how they got it, you know? For sure, Calvin is the worst.
Calvin is the worst. Like, I expect it from Calvin.
Not from Xander.
I don't expect it from Xander. But also, Xander is really easily persuaded by both Ben or Calvin. Like, Xander's just kind of like the middle person.
He's wishy-washy.
Like, you just kind of like toss him left and right. But yeah. I don't know. I thought about something right now that I'm kind of like...
Is it a prediction?
No, it's a question.
Okay. No, yeah, I don't know. It was so much. But I really wasn't surprised by Xander at all.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why.
I feel like I have higher hopes on Xander than like him to actually like give up, but I guess it is a lot of money. It's crazy what people will do for money.
$100 million? That would solve all of my problems.
And the ones to come as well. Actually, you know what they say? They say more money, more problems. So...
You may be right, but I don't know that yet.
Maybe if I try it out, I'll find out. I'll know what it is.
Let's go find a mermaid.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Xander probably wouldn't do it only because Ben would probably talk him out of it. Or in this instance, I honestly think that Xander would find a way to basically help Ben and Maddie to escape. Yeah. Like, I don't see Ben and Maddie trying to escape on their own. Especially if, like, Helen and all these, like, hybrids are being caught.
I just think Xander has no real connection to the Sirens. Like, there's been no real, like, interaction to where he feels like they're his friends or, like, he loves them or anything. I just think he's kind of like an assistant to whatever situation is happening. Yeah. And they still did kill his dad.
They did kill his dad and burn his boat.
And he could get them back with $100 million.
So revengeful. It's getting very spicy in here in the studio, you guys. Well, before we move on and start talking about the hybrids, you guys, I just want to take a moment to say thank you so much for tuning in every Thursday, catching up with us, talking with us about Siren, and just making us the ESPN of TV talk. Be sure to check out our other YouTube channels. We have lots of other things that you can subscribe to. We're also on iTunes, so give us a 5-star rating. And yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will be here. Actually, this is the show that I'm wrapping up with right now. I don't know when I'll be back doing another show, but
really,
you'll see me eventually. Yeah, it's just like there's so many shows. Like I need to start figuring out where I'm going, but we'll figure that out later. For now, the hybrids.
Okay, illusion. It's hard. Do we care about the illusion so much? So it's illusion and real life. So like what's in real life, we don't know much about them other than the pregnancy one, right? They never came up again.
No.
But in the illusion, that was serious stuff. We almost lost Beth, who I don't even like, but I felt really bad.
I felt it. I was like, wow. I was like, Beth grew on me a little bit because I actually felt bad about her death. Yeah. Which makes me, it's like, it may just mean that I'm a human and I feel bad when people, like, obviously pass away. But it was just kind of one of those things like, like, I can't believe Death died, but, like, I kind of saw that coming, you know? And then when that guy was being rude towards Helen, the tall guy, I'm forgetting his name. You guys, if you're in the chat, please tell me what you thought about tonight's episode. We will go ahead and read it. And if you know the name of the really tall guy that's a hybrid, please also slide it in there and let me know because I can't think of it and I also didn't write it down.
The chat is definitely going off. There are so many great comments about it. People are on your side here about Calvin. So you know what? I stand alone in this. Yeah, everyone thinks he wouldn't do, sorry, about Xander, that he wouldn't do it, but Calvin would. Yeah. So I love reading guys' comments, and I'm glad you enjoyed the episode as much as we did.
Yeah, seriously. We'll give you guys a shout out shortly. We'll talk about just what would really happen to the hybrids if they were to find them. They treated the hybrids in this episode as if they were, like, criminals and like by the whole thing washing them, like not knowing how to treat them. I feel like they were treating them like animals more than criminals, you know? It was kind of like, oh, we don't really know how you're going to react and like just testing on them. And I think about this and I'm like, you know what? I think that if tomorrow we found out that some people were like had some sort of like alien blood in them or like some sort of different blood in them, like people would totally want to like touch them and like get blood samples and just kind of try and figure everything out, which was really sad to see.
I know, it really broke my heart. All I kept thinking about when I was watching it was like the detention camps that like we're seeing so much with like immigrants, and then the way they were like hosing them down. Like, yeah, have you watched The Boy in Striped Pajamas? It's it literally that's all I was thinking about, and I was like, that is and then like in their uniforms or like the pajamas things they gave them, like Helen had like a number on it. It was just sad.
Inhumane.
And I feel like it's what we do.
Yeah.
And like the beds and everything, literally it just broke my heart.
Yeah.
I don't know, I was hurting watching it.
It's kind of one of those things that like plays into perspective of like, this is, for us, it's a show, but it's something that a lot of people are living in real life, and you're just like, you don't deserve to be treated this way, whether you are from wherever you're from, you know? So it was kind of one of those things where I was like, it was very upsetting.
Yeah.
Like, I was just like, seriously, like, you don't need to wash them with, like, a cold hose because you think that they're gonna switch into a mermaid on you and stuff, you know?
Yeah.
It was just kind of like one of those things where it was like...
In the chat, we have ABK88 and brings up a very good point. It was a very topical storyline given the news.
Yeah.
That's all I kept thinking about when I was watching it.
Mm-hmm. I agree, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I say this literally, I feel like in every single show that I do for Freeform, but Freeform is literally such a great platform because they touch on all the problems that are going on now, and I feel like their writers are so sharp and they're so on the dot, and they are not afraid of like bringing up topics that most people wouldn't feel comfortable with talking about, and they just like hit it spot on, you know?
Oh,
and
yeah.
they're just like, oh, well, this is what's going on, you feel bad for these people, well, why don't you feel bad for these other people? Because like, this is legitimately going on in real life.
And I'm sure what we saw is a whole lot nicer than the reality of what's actually going on.
Exactly. It's crazy. But, yes. So, moving on towards Rin. Rin is hiding. She has been out of the water for 2 months, which I was confused because I thought it was like, it said 2 days later, or maybe it said 2 months later.
Oh, I never even caught the writing.
When I saw the writing, I thought it said 2 days later, but now that I think about it, it probably said 2 months later, and that would make sense because they said that Rin had been out of the water for 2 months. So I was like, oh, okay. Do you think... No. I don't want to think that. Let's not.
Let's not think that.
Let's not think that.
Let's cross it off our list.
No, okay, let's see. If they were actually to catch Rin again, like they do towards the end of the episode, do you think that they would treat her the same way as they did when she was cooperating with them, or they would just completely treat her as like an animal?
I think once they know that there's so many of them, they all will get treated like animals.
Well, no, but I mean by the military.
Yeah, I think they were only nice to her to begin with, is because she realistically had control of the situation. Like, unless she cooperated, they could get nothing from her. Mm-hmm. But I feel like now that it's her plus a bunch of others, they have full control. Like, and they have the whole military on their side, the government, everything. Like, yeah, what's going to stop them?
Yeah, it's true. But, I mean, I don't know, because isn't that something that they kind of want to keep private? Or I guess it would be more... You're right. If this were to happen, they probably wouldn't treat her like they used to, only because now it would be a race of who could find out the most information the fastest. Because if like everybody around the world, within like Russia and China and like just everywhere, people are trying to capture the creatures, then everybody would want to start doing research and start developing different things and like the stem cells and stuff. So it would make sense that they would probably just all treat them like...
I just think in this case, like, Rin's only special because it's the only one they have access to. Yeah. But when they have access to a bunch of them, like she's no longer anything to really protect anymore.
Yeah. Which makes sense. Well, that's a good question. Well, all of this happened, and we were all devastated. Maddie gets shot, and she dies in the arms of her father. And we almost broke down crying here at the studio. I was like, I can't watch the show anymore if Maddie dies. Like I can't, you know? How am I supposed to come back for season 3 without Maddie? Their polyamorous relationship is weird, but it wouldn't be the same without them 3. No, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I was like, I can't watch this anymore. Like, I'm done forever. Bye, Siren. And then, and then Ben wakes up and he's like, just kidding. I'm not saving you. So we finally get to see what really does happen. Which, in all honesty, you guys, I feel a little bit like I loved the season finale because I thought it was great. It brought up a lot of like different tension and just different things that we were like, it shook us. But at the same time, I'm kind of like upset and a little bit disappointed about the fact that we don't really get any of the answers that we're waiting for. You know, there's so many things that are left unanswered. Nicole, that's literally what I wrote.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, season finale is over, but where's Nicole? Like, we don't know where Nicole is. We don't know what's really wrong with Chris. We know that this other hybrid ended up pregnant, which, what do you think about that?
I just think that's the only part that really related back to the last episode, the hybrid getting pregnant.
Yeah.
That tall guy, he bothers me. I'm like, you were so pissed when you found out they were there, but you're really in on this whole thing, you know?
Yeah. But the doctor betrayed them because it's obviously that they had to find out somehow, and that's the only way that they probably knew, that's you know?
True. Yeah. I mean, if the point is to get more mermaids in the ocean, so if the baby is gonna be a positive thing for the community, then cool, but it doesn't seem that way because it's so secretive.
Do you think that the baby is actually going to be a siren, or do you think it's gonna be a human, or do you think it's gonna pass?
I think it's going to be a siren, but the mom is probably going to pass because she's a hybrid.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I don't know I'm sure it's a whole different...
Giving birth situation.
Giving birth to a full siren than a hybrid.
I have a feeling that the siren, when it's ready, is just going to cut through the stomach to come out.
I don't think the mom's going to make it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a prediction of mine.
I like your prediction.
My first good prediction.
I like the fact that she dies. That is so, like, honestly, that's basically stealing somebody else's baby.
Yeah.
Which I'm still kind of questioning this, you guys. At the end of the episode, Ren was like, oh, you know, she lost the baby because she'd transitioned too quickly into becoming a siren because of the accident. So now she's not pregnant. But I'm wondering why they didn't go back to get the other embryo. Because obviously if she was only inserted one, or did they lie to her and tell her both were in?
I think she thinks both are in. That's what I think, but I don't know if they clarified that at all. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys could possibly remember from, like, last week's episode, but I was just kind of surprised that I was like, oh, they didn't go back to get the other one and find out that there's somebody else that's, like, pregnant with her baby, which will totally surface up, and, like, it's crazy.
I just think they played with us for a whole hour.
They did. Yeah. Basically, we got played. Which is great, you know? But not really, because I'm still sitting here with all the questions that I had last week.
Yes, and that we'll have for another couple of months before
until
we get
next
anything.
year, basically, before like season 3 comes out. But one thing that did happen during the ending, and I was really happy about it, was Captain Calvin's new boat.
Oh, that is so cute. I died.
I was like, I like you, Calvin. I think this is the only time that I've liked Calvin because of basically his girlfriend. Like, literally, like, I was like, he's not drinking, he's not gambling, he's actually going to work and do mermaid tours, which should be very exciting to just kind of see that next year. I feel like we'll learn a little bit more about Bristol Cove once he starts doing the tours, because he's going to be learning about the town, and we're going to be learning as we go through these tours and he's giving them, which is super exciting.
I was laughing at when the girlfriend came out of the boat. Because I'm like, of course you need to be saved by your girlfriend. Like, he's such a mess. Yeah. But it's cute. They do make a good couple because, I mean, not a lot of women are willing to support their man like that, you know?
No.
But we'll see. You're like, absolutely not. We'll see how that goes. I think the same thing. I think that little tour boat is going to cause some issues.
You think so?
Yeah, because you have a lot of people. I feel like they were so concerned about, like, the waters being polluted. I don't know if that boat's going to make a difference, like with people on it all the time, maybe dropping things in there. I think they're going to be more...
like it's going to cause more problems for the ocean.
And, I feel like there might be sightings maybe for people. Like, for one reason or another, sirens come up.
No.
You don't think so?
No, because, like, they've been fishing for, like, years, and they haven't had... Like, they were the first ones to, like, catch a siren. And that's only because they caught something super huge. And then, like... But other than that, like, the sirens are in too deep, and I feel like they know better. But it could be potentially where, like, they're out in the water and then Calvin sees, like, one that's, like, walking around because she just recently switched, So there's a lot of things that we'll probably learn about, A, the ocean, B, Bristol Cove, and 3, maybe just, like... I feel like they would have some sort of, like, issue.
Like, there seems some sort of interaction, yeah. And then keep in mind that I want to say the first half of this season, Rin made it very, I think, like, someone asked them, like, why were you so close to the shore? And they're like, because there's no more food. We have to come up higher to get food.
Yeah.
Which is why they started coming out a lot more. So I think, like, we kind of got away from the topic of their, like, the ocean water being so bad, but it's going to have to come back up again.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because there was nothing to be done to fix the water issue.
Yeah.
You guys, now we have more questions of, like, what's going to happen with the boat, which is all really exciting. Like, honestly, I love getting into a season finale and knowing that there's another season coming up, because there's nothing worse than, like, season finale comes around and you're just like, okay, like, hopefully the show gets picked up and I get all my answers, because nobody wants to live that type of life where you just have to go on with that without knowing what happens, you know?
We all need reassurance.
Yeah, exactly. So we will definitely be back next year or whenever it comes back for season 3, and hopefully we will find out where Nicole is. What's going to happen with all these boats, what's going on with Chris, and just, like, the new baby. So many things, you guys.
So many exciting things to look forward to.
Okay, moving on, you guys. We're going to talk about our special segment that Karla has prepared for us.
So we have our last mermaid sighting of the season. This one is from 1608, and it's actually another World Explorers. This one's Henry Hudson. He was the first to sail up the European river and explore the bay. And now the river is named after him, Hudson River. Okay. And he actually logged this sighting, unlike the one from last week, John Smith. That was his name, right? He logged it, saying that him and his crew saw few fish swimming out there, but from the top, they had brash. From the bottom, they were like fish. And yeah, so he logged it, thought nothing, like, saying not much about it. I really want to see these logbooks.
Yeah.
Like, what do they look like? What do you write? Like, details,
do you draw something?
Yeah,
like is there a picture?
How does this work? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like now, has anyone seen a mermaid lately?
Honestly,
what are the details of these mermaids?
I think recently, yes, but it depends on, like, who it was or whatever.
I think the last one was 20 years ago, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think that's the first one I did. But even then, I want details. I'm too curious
20 years ago.
That's a long time ago. I was 4 years old.
Yeah.
3 maybe.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. Well, you guys, if you want to know, Google it. Honestly, Google has all the answers, and sometimes it has way too many. That is so exciting, though. I love the fact that, like, we hear all these stories. Like, I've said this before, and I'll say it a million times. There was no social media before, so there's absolutely no way that all these people that were going through different parts of the world all have the same stories and kind of describe the same thing that they saw. Like, they all say they saw something, and this is, like, the description of it. So I'm like, you know what? They're out there. Somewhere.
Imagine he would have had a phone or something, or, like, a camera. That would have been everything.
It's like, now it's way too, like, I feel like now if there was a sighting, it would be tragic. Like, it would be great, but it would be very tragic.
We're paranoid now. After this episode, we're paranoid.
We're paranoid. We're like, actually, don't have your cell phone.
Don't come out.
I hope, like, stay underneath the water.
Please.
There's plenty of fish down there, and there's no fish up here. But yeah, let's do some quick rapid predictions before we wrap up.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
I'll have you start.
Okay. I think... I think Rin's probably going to be pregnant by next season. They're going to find a way to perfect her.
By who?
By Beth's community. I think they're done depending on the military. But
but they don't know how to take out, like, the egg, and then they would need another...
Well, they do. The community does have their own, like, specialists.
True.
Yeah, so I think maybe they can find a way to get all that going. I think, I feel like I said one earlier and it totally left my mind. Oh, I think Ben's mom is going to continue improving, but in order for that to continue happening, they're going to need to know the truth about Rin and how they're getting the stem cells.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, so I think Ben's family is going to have to get on board. And then...
I think so.
Yeah, I 100% think so. And then... Okay, and then I think the hybrid is going to have the baby. She's going to pass, and whatever... The truth is, I'm so excited to hear about it because it just seems that's like the part that I'm most sketched out about. Oh, and Nicole's gonna come back.
Yeah, Nicole's gonna come back. But you had really good predictions. I'm so proud of you. I was like, I have a lot to like, because a lot of the things they were saying, kind of like, I'm gonna piggyback off. Nicole is gonna come back, but there's gonna be something wrong with her.
Like Chris?
Yeah, like Chris. Like, either they're gonna have to, like, they either played the Siren song for her, or, like, they started testing her with other things here and there. But Nicole is not well. We know that for sure. And she will be back. I think that Ben's dad is actually going to start asking a lot of questions because of everything that he's going to be remembering, and just, like, now that the accident is back and he's just kind of having these thoughts and flashbacks, he's going to be like, okay, what is up with Rin? And he's just going to ask a lot of questions, and he might find out one way or another. And I think that they might find a way for Rin to get pregnant in the water, like, as a siren. I feel like either they get a tank and they clean the water, but I don't think that they're done with the military. I think that they'll eventually have to go back for something, like, definitely. And then with the remainings of, like, the parents that they found with Helen's parents, I feel like that's going to be another reason. Like, they have to go back and apologize to the military because Chris is in there, Nicole is in there, and Helen's parents and Donna are basically in there. So they have to find a way to get back in there to either take everything out, find Nicole, take Chris back out there. So I just feel like the military, we are not done with them. We're going to be seeing them for a lot longer. Someone
in the live chat, John and James, brought up a very good question. Do you guys think the upcoming Little Mermaid film will use some of the concepts of Siren for their film? I don't think so, but that would be interesting.
That would be really cool, like, if they use the same, like, CGI that they do for the girls. That would be awesome. But I feel like, knowing Disney, they might want to still keep it, like, Disney style.
Super PG. Imagine the Little Mermaid attacking someone.
Yeah. I mean, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know how true to the story they're keeping it, because, like, for example, Aladdin was kind of one of those where, like, it follows a lot of what the Aladdin Disney movie does, but I did love the fact that Jasmine kind of became this independent woman, and she did, like, it was, like, a different part of the storyline, so maybe.
Same thing with Lion King, like, they steered away a little bit.
I haven't seen it yet. No spoilers. I'm supposed to go watch it this weekend.
Greatest thing ever. You know, really? I didn't like it, but I thought it was amazing.
I've heard a lot of people didn't like it, so who knows? Maybe we'll have to find out, though. We'll have to wait and see. Hopefully by then we'll have Siren and we'll have the Little Mermaid, and we could talk about both at the same time.
We have a prediction from the live chat, and I love it. So if you guys have
predictions, please send them over to us. We're totally going to read them. We've got some time.
Shazabia 321. I think actually Maddie might end up pregnant by Ben, and it's going to cause jealousy etc. between the threesome. Imagine that. I would actually like that storyline. I like that
storyline. We're so spicy today.
I love this. Oh my god. And then someone else said, I hope they don't...
What's their name? What's their handle?
ABK88.
And who was the other person that said the
Shazabia321.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like your prediction, Shazabia. Thank you.
They just said, I hope they don't have Rin and Maddie fight over Ben. That would be like...
I feel like Maddie did become sort of aggressive at some point in
a little bit.
So but obviously we know that Rin would win, and that is not such a good idea, I think. Yeah. But that would be really interesting if, honestly, you guys, I still kind of want to stick to my prediction that accidentally Rin is going to end up pregnant from Ben.
That's what I ideally wanted to happen. I feel like they're in love now, and Maddie's just kind of there enjoying the threesome.
I think so.
That's what I really think. Do you think Ben still loves Maddie? I literally forget to ask you this every single week because I don't think that's the case anymore, at all.
Do I think he loves Ren? No. I think he's infatuated with Ren and the idea of Ren, and it's very different because there's a lot of people who are who think oh, it would be great to be in a relationship with this celebrity, so you're infatuated by them and everything that comes with them, but when you're actually in the relationship, you're not enjoying it because there's so much going on. So I think that he loves the idea of her and having a relationship with her, but I don't know that he actually really loves her. Only because their interaction has been because of the Siren song that's been constantly playing in his head that we know has been affecting him in the way that he reacts towards her. So it would be very interesting to know how the relationship would be if he would have never heard the song in the first place.
I never thought about that.
Yeah, because at least with Maddie, it was a relationship that they had because they were attracted to each other from the beginning and stuff. And Ben is attracted to Rin. Rin is a good-looking girl, but Rin is also a mermaid, so there was this other thing that was attracting to her. I don't know. It's kind of most people have this platonic love with somebody where you always want what you can't have. And you tend to become obsessed with certain things like that because you're oh, I can't have that, but I want it, so let's try,
Yeah.
So it's kind of one of those things because how, I don't know. So I don't really know that Ben is in love with Ren.
But I don't think he's in love with Maddie either.
But he's not in love with Maddie. Not anymore.
Yeah,
no.
I don't think so either.
And I don't even know that he was in love with Maddie from the beginning.
He seemed very infatuated with her and wanting to create some sort of life, but then I feel their complete focus went to Ren.
No, I feel even from the beginning they were kind of having issues, no?
But he wanted to include her in
everything. Yeah.
And now it's just kind of whatever they do includes their new goal with Rin and the other sirens and the hybrids and all this extra stuff. So I don't know, I find it...
I feel Ben and Maddie's relationship has gotten a little bit stronger because they do share something really big in common. But if Rin wasn't in the picture, would they still be together? I don't believe so.
The ABK88, Ben has crazy in his family tree. I agree with you. They're all a little nuts.
On that note, we end with that because that was perfect. No, but yeah, we'll have to see how basically the Siren song affects them in the next episode, if they're able to get fixed, because what if they fix the Siren song and he doesn't hear it anymore and he starts falling out of love from Rin?
Oh my god,
can you
so
imagine?
Many possibilities.
You guys, so many questions, so little time, and we're running out of it. But Karla, when can the people stay in touch with you?
You can find me on Instagram at Karla L. Contreras and Twitter at Karla_C.
And you guys, thank you so much for tuning in every Thursday, talking to us about Siren and just all of our crazy predictions and ideas about the mermaids out there in the world. I am your host, Karla Beltran. You can follow me on Instagram at I am Karla Beltran. And of course, you guys, don't forget to follow AfterBuzz TV and all social media networks at AfterBuzz TV. And we will see you guys hopefully next year for season 3. Ciao.
Bye.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.